is the Ayer Conservation Commission meeting. This is Thursday, January 12th, 2023. It's our first meeting in the new year. Commissioners in attendance this evening: Jeremiah, member; George Bacon as member; Jess Eugenio, member clerk; Mark Phillips, vice chair; myself, John Schmollenberger, as chair; Heather Hampson, conservation agent. Do we have confirmation of agenda?
Yes, there's no changes.
No changes. We might, if we have someone who might show up to talk about the Greenway.
Mm-hmm.
If he does, we'll put him before Air Solar 2.
That's fine.
Discussions.
Yep.
Okay. Motion to approve the agenda is written.
So.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passes unanimously. Do we have approval of the meeting minutes for December 8th, 2022? Any changes? Eagle eyes? No. Motion to approve the meeting minutes for December 8th, 2022 as written.
So.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passes unanimously. This is our time this evening for public input. If anyone would like to offer a suggestion or question? No? Okay. Hearing none, then we will move on. This is a continued public hearing that we will open under the Wetlands, Massachusetts Wetlands Act. I haven't done this in so long, I forgot. And the Ayer Wetlands Bylaw. So this is a request for abbreviated notice of resource area delineation, an ANRAD, Orion Park, Ayer, Mass, DEP file number 100-0481. Did a site walk there last Saturday, and nice walk. Any questions from commissioners? Comments? You are, sir?
My name is Matthew Varrell. I'm with Lucas Environmental, here representing the applicant, just in case there were any last questions or
Okay.
concerns or anything.
Welcome. Any questions or comments from commissioners? Heather? Anyone else?
No,
Viewing and listening?
just when we were on site, you had the comment about the condition possibly adding on to it in regards to the high water?
The high water?
Is it because the ice, because the one wetland we went to look at was the isolated wetland.
Right.
So just had a comment when we were on site about a possible condition of approval in regards to, there was comment about them because they couldn't do the testing when they did because of the
pool.
the vernal pool,
Yeah.
and I don't remember what
Oh,
that
we
was.
just put specifically in the indicate in the order of conditions that if for any future project in that area, the status of the vernal pool will need to be confirmed.
Okay.
It's not confirmed in this order of conditions.
Yeah.
Yeah, my understanding was, again, I wasn't at the sidewalk, but my understanding was that because it was off season when it was flagged, we weren't able to flag sort of the
Right.
high water, the vernal pool, so that it's likely coincident with the engineer calculations of the 100-year floodplain, but it could be tweaked a little bit depending on actual conditions. So that was understood that the actual boundary of the vernal pool itself within that wetland would need to be approved in some future
Right.
filing.
Because you were concerned about the the fact that it was quite the drought year.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
it'll
just
be
to
flagged in
note
July
that
may have
our
been an issue.
Because
approval-
I drafted the INRAD real quick, and there's no place to put conditions, so I don't know if it's something that we add special conditions to, or if we just note it in the minutes. So
Let's see.
yeah.
If we want to have it in
So I just wanted to make sure that we mentioned that.
the, yeah.
Yeah.
I've certainly seen ORADs with a page of a.
Yeah, that's it.
special
We can
note,
definitely
yeah,
add a
no,
page
no.
to it that just
At the
states
end,
a
that's
condition or
good, I have
two.
No objection to that.
I just wanted to make sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's not like a
It's not like the, yeah.
RDA that we can add those to. But I can create a
Yeah.
conditions page.
Yeah,
to
just-
include
just-
that.
Just include that.
Yeah, I can do
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
Not a problem. I'll just make sure I get that word right.
Anything else? Nope. Motion to approve the NRED with the said condition as written.
Second.
Yeah, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we don't close this out, right?
We do.
Okay, motion to close the public hearing at the Orion Park, DEP file number 100-0481.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed nay.
Did you want to sign this with just me putting that special? Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Everyone's name in it. Yes, you can. I made sure I typed everyone's name on it this time. Yep.
I should use a pen instead of a pencil.
Yeah. Just a thought.
I don't think you can record it with a pencil.
Pen. I'm keeping this.
Sure.
Theft.
Nobody saw it.
Okay.
I'll give it back to you.
I know. Okay, so
Thank
do
you.
the switch quick.
Yep, we're gonna do the Greenway Committee next. So if you would join us, please. You can bring another chair up if you both want to come up.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
I know. I know. He's mad. Good evening.
Hello, Commissioners.
Can you state your names for the record, please?
Kathleen Cashel.
Andrew Seeley, and we both live in Mountain View Ave.
Do you have proof of residency?
My license.
So you're interested in the Greenway Committee?
Yes, sir.
Okay. No more sirs, all right?
Commissioner Schmallenberger.
Okay. Wow.
Sure.
You might ask George to
I was gonna say,
describe.
yeah, you're the one here that has some experience with the Greenway in the past. Could you just describe what you did in the past?
Okay, we laid out and built some trails on the Pine Meadow Conservation Land. And we would do annual maintenance, keeping them clear. We tried to make some improvements. We got money through CPC to put up those kiosks. We built those and put them up. You know, things like that. We had a few guided walks with some local bird watchers, and we tried to do some fundraising. It didn't go very well.
Very well.
We had a cardboard boat race. I think we had
In the
three.
pond?
Yeah,
Man.
yeah,
No kidding.
yeah. Gary Wooker almost drowned.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So So basically, it's friends of the conservation area. So we try to pitch in and help maintain and improve the conservation area, and to have activities that bring out people to enjoy it.
Hmm. Hmm. It needs some upkeep
Yeah.
currently. You've been back there. You've seen it.
That's why I'm here.
That's why you're here. Great.
Is it only focused on Pine Meadow?
At the time, that's basically all we had.
Start reasonable.
Yep.
Do you have trail stewards for different parts of the?
No.
Okay.
What do you mean by trail steward?
Somebody asked this the other day. Somebody who's like responsible for a particular section to
Oh,
sort of
like
walk
your
it
sun
regularly.
to yellow and
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. But that might. So Heather might have some thoughts on this too, but I think one question would be, what would go into starting up the committee again?
Well, typically, is that most subcommittees they're usually approved by the select board. So I think it'd be a matter of making sure that it's either the select board or the town manager's office is aware that this subcommittee is gonna start up again, so we can get members on it and then figure out who should be on this committee, whether it's representative from different departments plus residents, or how they wanna do that. I don't know how it was done before, if they just keep that, it's probably written down somewhere, I'm sure. And just copy that, and then a matter of meeting times and dates. I would assume.
Yeah, basically you need some sort of critical mass of people who are willing to show up and participate. That's why we stopped meeting. We stopped getting those people.
Yep. How did you get them in the first place?
I don't recall.
I don't recall.
But now we have, the town has its Facebook pages. We have a lot more
Yeah.
social media now. And people discovered Pine Meadow during the pandemic. A lot of people, so.
So the first step is to contact the select board.
I would think so, town
Okay.
manager's office, and find out about getting the committee up and running again and what needs to get done, if it needs approval from the select board, or since was already approved board, if they can just get the members going again, and then how they get appointed. They're appointed by what department? That's what I'm saying, usually select board will appoint
Yep.
committee members, and then they get sworn in and that whole fun stuff.
Is that something that you could do?
I can look into that, yeah.
We weren't so much a committee as a club, you know.
It's a club.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so then that's a different, so it sounds to me like what you describe it, instead of being like a Greenway committee, like that's appointed by the town, it sounds more like it's a stewardship program for different conservation efforts. We have the one, so it's more or less just that.
Yeah,
It's not
like-
really a formal committee, it's
Yeah.
just a land steward.
Yeah, the library has Friends of the Library.
Yeah,
We'd have Greenway.
yeah.
Okay, and if we find out that it's a go,
Mm-hmm.
then you put it on social media? Someone does? Not me.
You know, typically, well, I think Cindy still does some stuff, I'd have to ask her permission to do that.
Yep.
But periodically on the town, the Ayer community Facebook page, people sometimes say, is there anything like a trail committee? I'd be interested in.
Well, if
So that-
that's something we want to post on that, if someone else is on it, I don't
Yeah,
do
I could
those.
do that.
As an employee for the town, I do not do
I'm
those.
on it. Jen also lurks on it.
Yeah, I don't post anything on the Facebook.
We'll do a email blast.
Email blast.
It'll be more important than some of the blasts I've had in the past.
Yeah,
Yeah. And just things we talked about, Mr. Chair, yeah. Things we talked about at our last meeting were, this guy brought up that the trail markers are in terrible shape.
Ugh.
Well, they're not even there.
They're not there.
They're just an occasional blaze.
Um,
Can we get some funding for that and just have a friends
Yes.
go out and nail some things to some trees or however you do it?
We can figure out what to do, but sure. I think I've seen some in Rocky Hill where there's just a 4x4 set into the ground with the little thing on it, and they're very clean and easy to do, and you don't nail it onto a tree.
Because Pine Meadows, I think, fully spray painted,
It's spray painted, but
right? I
there's
don't
nowhere.
think there are metal blazes in the property. Does anybody know?
I think it's,
Because I think that's part of the issue.
I think
is
it's
the paint
glazed.
has just like
Yeah.
westernized in there.
there are different ways of marking trails. So there, and you think you know some. But we also need to redo the kiosks, and George had said might be nice to put some benches in a few spots. And then I had said the Community Preservation Committee, this could be a great grant application for funding all of that.
Yeah.
And something else too today I thought of on that, but it's gone out of my head.
The duck blind.
Duck blind, yeah. So,
Kind of a silly question, but in the past, so like I'm interested in helping like clear the trails and reblaze them and all that. But like, where do you get the tools? Like, is this just a like? I know, John, you have tools. I don't know how you feel about like donate or like how does
Donating
that?
them?
Well, you're not donating, but like I don't know. Maybe you have like a rusty saw. I don't cut trees a lot. But
Well,
like,
that's
where
something
does
that
that all
Yeah,
come
so-
from? Like,
That
does
needs to be
the
discussed.
committee have to
Yeah,
store
it was
stuff?
mentioned to me that the trails are in that there's some blocked and stuff from recent storms, and I contacted the DPW to see if they could go out and do that, and they said, well, they just let them know where, and they'll try to get out there. But unfortunately, with the weather, I haven't been able to get on site and go walk and see where I can find where these issues are. So if anybody knows of any of them, you can let me know. And I can try to get the DPW to go out when they have the time, and because they have these machineries, they have the tools to try to clear some of the trails
So
that are blocked
that's
at the
not
current
part of
moment.
the Greenway Committee is clearing trail.
It's
You
two,
would
2 points.
essentially
identifying those spots so that
Identify.
Yeah.
Okay, but you're not the one chopping.
No, I wouldn't
Okay.
expect that to be, but then again,
Not the big stuff.
No, not the bigger stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the smaller stuff. Yeah.
Okay, got it. That I can handle.
Because I've gone out on site and I've cleared some twigs and stuff out of the
Oh,
way
yeah.
too.
That was sort of one of my questions was the liability of what you're doing out there.
Exactly, and that's what that would fall into. That maybe it was too big. We'd have the.
Yep. Okay, so that's a plan, right? Contact the select
Mhm.
board,
Yep.
get some stuff out there on social media, get a crew,
Mm-hmm.
have potluck and plan, figure stuff out.
Yeah, I can work something out.
and if we were applying for CPC Monday, I could do that application, being on CPC.
Oh, okay.
I know how to do those, so.
That's just for the signage,
Signage, benches.
benches, yeah.
Beth Sudemeyer used to be involved with she and Takashi were involved with the old Green Lake Committee. She said, yeah, she's got some of the sign materials or information they used in the past still, so draw on that, but.
Could it also a little bit blue sky, but there's the trail that really runs by the power line. That there's like a little baby brook that runs there.
Maybe what?
Like a brook.
Yeah.
Baby Brook.
Like there's some place, or like there's some water there. Like, could part of the CPC be to build like a little bridge
boardwalk.
where like when a trail kind of hits water and then you like
These
have a sketchy.
Items like this, especially too with the benches that are suggested, I keep. And things like these are like long-term, like easy projects that if we ever get an Eagle Scout in town,
Oh,
it's like,
okay,
hey,
yeah.
Eagle Scout projects. Like here, I have lists of things that we need done.
Okay.
So I try to keep a list of those in hopes that maybe one will come.
Yep.
So,
No, I think that's perfect.
Okay. So
Because
because those projects are
perfect.
pretty easy for them to do, that they can, get done, and that's typically what they like to do is something similar that it helps with community engagement as well. So we'll look at that too, though, to get done at some point as well. We'll keep a list of items too, once we get this committee stewardship program going, that if we do find these items, we have an idea of what projects we can have a list for, if there's any Eagle Scout or Girl Scout projects that need to get done in town.
Sure, that sounds good. Any other questions?
How do we hear back from you all?
Gotta know somebody on the commission. Or a few people.
Okay, so you'll just let us
Well,
know when this
yeah.
is a go.
We'll be in touch.
Okay,
Yep.
so
But
mysterious.
thank you for your involvement.
It sounds like your tools are safe.
I think they're safe.
I was planning on fixing the trails with your chisel, so
Yeah.
if I did.
We like.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kat, so much.
Alright.
Thank you, Andrew.
So,
Yep.
one of the biggest boosters for the committee was Steve Smith,
Yeah.
so let him know.
Steve,
Oh.
Steve Smith
Yeah.
from
Autumn Ridge.
Autumn. Yep.
Well, maybe he could mentor it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was great. Sure. Anything else? All right. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks. Yeah.
Good night.
So next item this evening is a discussion, Air Solar 2 conservation restriction. Hello, gentlemen.
How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Good. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, sir.
Would you like us to come up?
Please.
Okay. Great.
And names.
Hmm?
And names.
Hmm? And if you could state your name for our record, please.
How are you?
Long time.
I know.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, I'm Adam Costa. I'm an attorney with the firm of Mead, Tallerman and Costa. And I've been before the commission before, but with COVID and all, it's been a while.
It's been a while.
But good to see some of you again.
Nice to see you too. You as
Rohit
well.
Garg. Hello,
Nice to
how are
see you
you?
too.
Rohit Garg from
They know you.
yes, from Ayer Solar 2 LLC.
You've both been well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Hopefully you guys had good holidays. I've seen you recently.
No, I drove to Ohio through that storm.
Oh.
So, no.
So, better than flying, though, right?
Yeah, you're on the ground.
We'll see what happens tomorrow then.
Alrighty, so,
So where we're at is,
Yep.
one of the conditions that we put on, when we asked to limit the number of, inspections, was to finally get the CR in the ground and recorded and done. So what we're at now is, so that we got the draft back, from what I can tell from the state with their comments. The last time it was on the agenda with the commission was back in July of '21, where it was discussed. So I sent you all the copy of the draft, along with the email that Rohit had sent me back with the minutes that said that, and the proposed sign locations. So I don't know where this stands now. You guys are all on board beforehand, if it had already gone to council, if you want to council to review this draft again. So I'm just, it's on the agenda for you guys to discuss where we're going on with this from this point on,
yeah.
to get this moving forward and done. Last time I think I talked to Rohit on site, he mentioned something about getting the baseline document done, which hasn't been done yet at this point.
No, I actually got the draft yesterday.
You did you? Okay.
Yes.
So there's an update on
But
that.
that, from my understanding, that he knows more about the CR process with the baseline draft.
Yeah.
But typically, from what I understand is that the CR needs to be
Is be voted on, approved, and
go
signed,
through
yeah.
the process, and then the baseline goes
Yes, correct.
to the state afterwards.
Yeah, correct.
There was a little bit of a disconnect, I think, because we had prepared, so as you probably know, the CR is a form document that the state provides, but it's subject to edits. There are things you can select, there are things you can add, there are things you can delete. So Rohit, some time ago, maybe 2 years ago, had prepared, shortly after the permitting process was over, had prepared a draft. I gave him the form that I was able to get from DOER, and he made some revisions to it. I reviewed it, made a handful of my own based on my experience. I've negotiated many of these over the years. We sent a copy of that to your former conservation agent. We sent a copy of that to the state and made the official filing. We were assigned a file number. And then the state took it under advisement for quite some time. It typically takes them a little while to review these. And so then we got feedback from them, not significant. I think that's probably the version that you now have. I think there was some informal back and forth where they requested some changes. We made those, but what you have is the latest version. And then you had a changeover in conservation agents. We didn't come back to you. We dropped the ball a little bit over the course of the past year. And so we've just sort of been sitting on this. But from our perspective, it's more or less ready to go. We don't see any issue with the handful of changes that are still referenced in the document you have. They're all sort of minor items that can be pretty easily addressed. But we wanted the opportunity to discuss that with you, see if you have questions. Certainly if you want to have your council review it. I don't know whether your former agent sent it to council. It's a form document, so I'm happy to have council review it. KP Law has seen dozens of these as I have, so I'm sure that I hope that their review will be quick. But I don't imagine they're going to have much issue with it. But certainly, if you feel more comfortable having them review it, you can. And then we would finalize it and circulate it for signatures and get it back to the state.
Are the revisions of the?
Yeah, they're the bubbles. Those are comments from the state.
Yeah.
From the state, okay.
Correct.
Yep. How do people feel about putting it before town council?
These are comments from the state or
Those
these
are
are
comments
your
from the
comments?
Red.
Yes, once the 10 is.
Yeah, I thought these were yours.
Oh, no, somebody gave you at the state.
Oh, dear.
That's good to know.
But I think the select board won't sign it. They sign it too, and I don't know that they would without the town council.
Town council? Okay.
But ask, you can ask. you
Yeah,
can
I
ask.
definitely do that. I didn't want to do anything with this until
Yeah.
we had all met before I brought it to the town manager's office to ask the question. So I wanted to make sure you guys, because I didn't know what you've done with it in the past.
Right.
Yeah.
And the state's last communication with us said that once the town was comfortable with it, they obviously wanted us to send it back to give them the final sign off before we get signatures. They just want to be sure that all parties are in agreement. So,
Okay.
So I think you have an electronic version. I don't know if you have a Word version.
I do. Yeah,
Okay.
everything I have though is there a Word version?
Yeah, this is the Word version. I sent
Okay, I
you.
did. Okay. I'm just, there was 3 things in that email. I can't remember. I think 2 were PDFs and
Yeah,
one was
the PDF
one
was
was
that.
a Word. And I can't remember which was which.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So I do have that. It's just so I do have it. It's the marked up one. So which is fine to send them.
Mhm.
Well, yeah,
Yep,
that's
that's
fine.
fine.
Yeah, I can forward that over.
So the next step in this thing is to bump it to the town council and have them take a peek?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. I can do that.
Would it be good sending them the copy that's marked up now?
That's
or-
what I have.
Okay.
And if your counsel, I don't know whether it would be Amy Questle or somebody else
Yeah,
at the
I'm
firm,
not sure.
but whomever it is that it gets assigned to, if they want to communicate directly with me if they have questions
Okay.
or if they want to send revisions back. I mean, sometimes it just speeds things up if there's some back and forth if we have to work through any legal issues. But again, I don't really anticipate there will be any. Our revisions were more adding missing information, particulars of the site, particulars of everything from access to restrictions, prohibited uses, choosing from amongst the options. I didn't go in and I didn't make legal changes to the legalese of the document because, candidly, the state won't allow that.
Sure.
But I'm happy to communicate directly if it speeds things up.
What did you think about the state's comment that questioning why use of signage denoting trail access would be prohibited?
Sure. So we're going to adjust that, and that's
Okay.
actually why you have this additional PDF of the color plan. So initially, our thought was that I have this debate, frankly, on behalf of some of the towns I represent. When there's conservation land that doesn't have pertinent parking, or that's adjacent to other conservation of the land of the town that might have a parking lot. Yes, it's open to the public, but do you really want to advertise the public access, particularly when the locations of those advertisements might be adjacent to public ways? You want people parking along the sides of busy roadways or in private neighborhoods or in front of people's homes. So our initial thought was, sure, this is open to the public. That's a component of the conservation restriction designation. But we weren't going to advertise it. We weren't going to put any sort of significant signage.
Yep.
Then we received a comment from the state saying, well, if it's public, maybe you should. So my understanding is that Rohit had had some conversations with your former agent, and the suggestion was, well, how about you put up a couple signs? And so we said, where do you want them? And the locations here is what was informally agreed upon between Rohit and the agent.
Yeah.
We're flexible with signage, but even the locations where we're showing them here, one of them is, at the rear. I understand that this front property here that is adjacent to the utility easement is another subdivision that is being developed, and that might be some other open or conservation land.
Correct.
Yep, it
So
is.
that the location of that sign is sort of going to be between future conservation land and current soon-to-be conservation land, out in the middle, demarcating some boundary that isn't really a boundary. That's fine. This other one is going to be off of Pleasant Street. I guess the only challenge there is, does that invite people to pull their vehicles onto the Pleasant Street cul-de-sac and just park them there? I don't know how you feel about that, if you're okay with a few. I mean, I don't imagine that you're going to have 50 people parking vehicles out there. But there really aren't other locations. I mean, we can't put any signage along the access roadway to the solar project. You don't want people entering there.
Right.
And there's really no other locations where signage was appropriate. So that's how we ended up with these two. If you don't want them, we won't give them to you. But if you do, we thought that would satisfy the state and make it known that it's conservation land.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you all think?
I think it's good to have them, and those locations look fine to me. It just lets people know, oh, looks like there's a trail there, I'm not trespassing.
Right.
So,
It's fair.
Yeah.
What about one somewhere here along Washington Street? What do you folks feel about that?
Well, that's where the solar array is. So when you see that right of way,
No,
that
I'm talking
goes.
here.
Yeah, so
That's
right
okay.
here is the right of way for the power lines,
Mhm.
and then you get up to here is the actual, all this is actual wetlands. It just drops off in this wet, this is woods, and to tie it into the back, you're actually going over the easement for the power lines.
Okay.
So we
There
can't.
isn't a good place.
Yeah, we can't invite the public into the utility easement
No.
because the utility won't allow us. And as we get up into this area, we don't want to be inviting the public onto the private property that is the solar
The
project.
solar
So,
project, yeah.
Okay.
And then what
Just wanted to
happens
check.
is to try to go same thing off of the rail trail. I think that would end up being an issue with what is that? Is that DCR land?
DCR.
So you wouldn't want to,
yes,
yeah. So you
yes,
don't want to do
correct.
that there. So here makes sense. The only thing I might want to review, and I'd have to talk to the gentleman that owns the subdivision here. I think part of his subdivision approval, which is the only reason why it's helpful that I used to work for the planning board, that he had to cut in some trails already.
Mhm.
So I might want to double check and see where those are, because if we can get this signage to match with that trail that's already pre-cut in, then it's kind of leading one into another. So I'll just, so it might change from location from one side, just to see where that trail is already pre-cut in.
Yeah, that
And
makes sense.
we can just do
Yeah,
that.
we'll put it wherever you want
Yeah.
it, so that's fine.
But I think that location's fine, just more or less so people know, it's just gonna be one vast thing anyway, but then oh, this is one, and then this is another one, so it looks like.
So that was the intent
Yeah.
at the time when I was talking with Joanne,
Yeah.
the previous, I think at that time we didn't know where.
Yeah, and those trails, I know,
Those plans,
they've already
'cause-
been pre-cut in, they're not 100% benefit, but they did start them, so I'll try to get a hold of him, see if I can figure out where they are on that property and get it to match up with this sign that does eventually go on.
who do you get in touch with on that?
Joe Levine?
Oh, Joe, for the Pleasant Street?
This
Or-
is for the Panther
Panther
Place.
Place.
Okay.
Do you have plans for that project?
Panther
Where the-
Place?
Where that trails are gonna be cut in?
He already roughed them in.
What?
He roughed them in over the summer.
Oh, no, but you actually have physical plan?
I might in my office somewhere that I
Okay.
haven't reviewed, but I know that was part of the approval for the
Okay.
planning board. That is
No, I was saying we can match it. I
Yes, I'm
think
saying
it's
if I
a
had, I'll have to go
GPR,
look. I don't know if I do.
No problem.
But we'll figure it out, and if I do find them, I'll send them
No
to
problem. I can have GPR put it right where it's supposed to go.
Any other questions? Discussion? Gentlemen, you all happy?
you. So
That's
I will-
great. So if
I
Heather
will
lets-
send this off to council.
Yeah.
I think Jess was looking to make sure there's no other comments. She was going fast, so I wanted to make sure.
I don't want to rush you.
Nope, I'm
Because
fine, I went through it earlier.
that was, realistically, that was the only, there was two comments, right? One was the signage and one was the title thing, so.
And there's a little misspelling of conveyance.
Yeah, but by them, they misspelled conveyance. That's their edition. I saw that.
Oh, yeah, they misspelled. And there's somewhere else, there's a preservation that,
We'll run spell check before we finalize it. But if Heather can let us know once you've got something back from your council, unless council's in touch with me, if you'd like us to appear before you again, or if you don't need us to appear before you, you're just going to take a vote, or you want to authorize us to represent to the state that it's acceptable to you before it comes back to you for signing, just let us know what you'd like us to do, and we'll proceed accordingly.
We'll be in touch after
yeah.
town council takes a peek.
That's
And
great.
the preservation thing might not come up on spell check because it's misspelled perseveration.
What page are you on?
Page 3, under the water quality protection for under the conservation values, it says water quality protection, perseveration of land in an undeveloped area, undeveloped state, blah blah blah. So perseveration.
Yeah.
So that's also
okay.
a word. So that's the only things that stuck out for me.
Okay.
Something.
Perseveration. I'm pretty sure I never used that word ever.
Alright, we'll fix it.
Anything else? We're all good, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Appreciate
All
it.
right, thanks for coming in.
You need to say about anything else because you're going to do an update?
Oh, it's just an update that the work you've been doing on site.
Yeah, so do you need to?
Maybe, I don't know, unless you have anything to add. to
I don't
that
know what
site.
the update you're.
Oh, so the only thing we ask while you're here, the email that I sent you this morning in regards to yesterday we're on site.
Yeah, I
the cell-
just got that. I was going to send you
Okay.
a note tomorrow.
Okay, very good.
I'm flying out, but I'm just letting you know the only thing that's not going to be done is the slopes component of it.
Okay.
Because we talked about
Yeah,
that. We don't
okay.
want.
But the
uh,
at the outlet of the culvert in the.
Well, they're working today. They did this big wall, the second wall
Yeah.
that expanded. They're working in that environment right now.
Okay.
So we cannot move that. But what I did do is ask them to put a couple hay bales down
Okay.
stream,
Perfect.
block it, so we go from there.
Okay.
And then some of the hay that that we talked about,
Mhm.
disturbance that Rihanna pointed out as well.
Mhm.
If it's not there, I think today I couldn't see it because
Mhm.
I went there like on 1 o'clock.
Mhm.
It was snow on the ground.
Yeah.
So I couldn't see if they actually did the hay or not. But
Okay.
if not, they're going to try to get it out today or tomorrow.
All right, very good.
Okay, so I'm going to do all of that stabilization, by next week Wednesday. You'll have that
Okay.
component of it.
Very good.
From that perspective. But otherwise, again, the additional work that needed to be done to get, cleaned up.
Okay.
has
So
been done.
I'll just see the email tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm just gonna tell you about the slope and the
Perfect.
hay. I don't have any pictures, because,
Okay.
I went to take pictures for you and
It's covered in
it's
snow.
covered
Yeah.
in snow.
Yeah, it was a lot more snow today, I think, than I even expected.
So,
Okay.
Thank
Very
you,
good.
gentlemen.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
See you.
All right, the next item this evening is a discussion on pond treatment, request for quotes 2023. So send them out to water wetlands.
Yeah, so I took the one from last year,
Yep,
changed, I believe, dates. So someone might want to double check to make sure I get all the dates right.
There are a few that,
There's probably a few that I missed. And then I didn't know, I added a sentence at the end of the scope of work for Sandy Pond to state that a treatment for the algae bloom should be added. And I wanted to make sure that how we wanted to word that 100%, because I've never actually drafted one of these before, so.
I would do a new paragraph for that.
A new paragraph, okay.
Yeah. And sort of go off what they said in
there.
the year-end
Okay.
treatment too.
Yep.
And I would just say we probably need to update the few sentences before that,
Okay.
where it says primary focus in 2023 should be blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
And for that, I'd just take a peek at the year-end report findings for each pond
Okay.
to update. It seemed like for all three, it was, we're in a sort of good maintenance phase now.
Okay.
Except for highlighting that on Sandy Pond, which you already did, the Phragmites stands were not treated last year because of the bloom.
Yeah.
So would need to be checked
Okay.
this year.
Yeah, you have to forgive me, I've never actually drafted one of these
yeah.
before, so I'm like, I don't even know what goes in. I don't know what goes
Yeah.
in these things yet.
And, yeah, so that's the only thing I would just update,
Okay.
the sections,
Because I was briefly going through and finding the 22s that I missed.
yeah.
The very first.
Did I miss one?
I've never heard Pine Meadow called the Erskines?
Erskine,
Erskine's Pond?
yeah.
Is that an oldie?
Okay, yeah.
And here,
Old
here,
name?
here,
23, right?
you can have that. I have
Okay,
marked
thank
here.
you.
And then I believe the third paragraph, second to last line,
Yeah,
treatment season 2022, correct?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Scrolling on through. Third page.
Yeah, I got those.
Okay,
There's
I
two.
put a question mark actually over here on the 2021. Is that supposed to be 2022?
I circled it because I'm not sure. I gotta double check it.
Okay, and then 2023 over there on that
Yep,
side.
yep.
And then
I was peeking through to see. I didn't see
on
anything.
what's this? Whatever this page is,
Mm-hmm.
you can just add Monday, March 6th, 2023. I know it should be understood, but just make it clear.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And I just picked a date similar to what the last one was.
second to last page.
Mm-hmm.
So at the top of this, so it is Air Ponds 2022 year-end report, prepared by Water and Wetlands 2020, November 29th, 2022, or is that a totally different date altogether? Right here? It was the second to last page.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. So yes.
Oh, yeah. No, I gotta put that on the website. Yep, okay. I have to put that report on the website, so yeah, no, we'll do that.
Okay.
Got it. Yep. Okay.
All right, cool.
And we'll make sure that gets put on and that gets updated, because I gotta update the website. Awesome.
And Justin, Jen, is it too wit?
Is it what?
Is it too wit? W-I-T? Or is this supposed to be something else?
Oh, so this is something that's prepared by the town. That's their legal
Payment
language.
of, in full payment, the following sums to wit. Is it wit? I don't know. That's
Yeah,
that
we
kind of
didn't
which I
write
don't
that.
get.
That's-
Okay.
That's what they use for. To wit, that's what they use.
That is to say, namely,
Is it?
is the definition.
I feel I can double
Why don't they
check
just
with
say
the,
that?
the finance department to make sure that's correct.
So
Okay.
Jesus Christ, it's not that, 8.5 by 14.
send that electronically, I guess, to Water and Wetlands and what's the other? Solitude.
Yeah.
Solitude?
Solitude.
Yeah.
And then last year had to find some third place to send it to. Should be in the file, and that I couldn't find an electronic address. So if you know anybody, just,
MACC has a list of subcontractors on their website that you can find.
There you go.
yeah.
So I'm sure they have one for this
Oh,
that I can look up.
Let me see mine for a second.
Yours?
The one thing I would add
Yes.
for, and this helps us, on, in our, on page, 5, and you were just using what we had last year, so this would be, we have the technical quotes will be ranked and evaluated in the following criteria, colon. And I'm not sure why we have that paragraph then, utilizing sonar, diclot, herbicides. I don't know why and that would be me last year. Why that's
I
there.
was
Should
Yeah.
that just slot in above the any code? Or did it just get cut and pasted weird?
I think it's gotten cut and pasted. We have all that information earlier.
Okay, so we can just
So
leave
just,
that.
I would
take this whole.
take that out.
Okay.
And then
And just
on-
leave the following
yeah.
criteria 1, 2. Okay.
And then on number 6, where we have
Mhm.
demonstrated satisfaction with previous work performed for other municipalities, I would also say add in performed for the town of Ayer or other municipalities.
Okay.
Is that, I think we've had good response with water and wetlands.
Yes. Yep.
And that sort of gives us the ability to consider that as well as
Okay.
our criteria.
Very good.
So,
Anything else? All good to go.
Okay, very good. We'll work on that and get those out in the next week or so.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right, Conservation Office and member updates.
Okay, I have my little, I did a good job. I wrote a list this time.
oh. I remember, because when I was looking at that, and I
Yes.
was looking at water and wetlands comments
Mm-hmm.
on Pine Meadow Pond, they had suggested maybe some signs put in to alert people about the importance of cleaning boats to keep out invasives
Oh, yeah,
like
we
water
need to do
chestnuts.
that. Yes.
And then I had thought, oh, that would be a great thing for the Greenway Committee. That was the thing I was.
Yep.
I mean, I've seen hundreds of
Yeah.
signs and I've watched people not wash their boats, but it's.
So if we were doing the whole thing with improvements, that would include that.
Okay, very good. All right. So updates. Like I said, I had shared some pictures last week with John, and some of you had saw them before, of Ayer Solar Site last week with a lot of the washout that had occurred. They actually have a new contractor out on site that's been doing a lot of work on there and cleaning items up and putting more rock down, regrading it. So the site, as of this week, was greatly and vastly improved from last week. The corner of the culvert, that wall, as of Wednesday, had not been replaced yet. Is an item that they are continuing to work on over the next, I think this week and next. And they're actually continuing the wall, making it longer. So that'll be reinforced and done. I've been sending Rohit emails at the end, either later that afternoon or today, the following day after our inspections, of any items that I see that may need to be addressed. So I did that today, which I'll get his response on those. There was some sediment that came out of the culvert. No one knows where it came from. They argue one thing, I argue another. I have no idea. I did ask him to clean that out and fix some of the rock that has been placed there because it all got washed out last week. I don't know if the rain was just that strong, if it was the warming, cooling. I have no idea how that happened, but it's the first time I've seen it happen all summer. So I asked him to do that and fix some of the erosion controls, which he was going to do. So I might peek out on the site on Monday just to see how that looks, to make sure it was done prior to Wednesday.
I was actually going to ask, are you possibly available tomorrow, knowing that we're going to get an inch of rain tonight?
I was gonna take the day off, but I can swing by.
If you're going to take that day off, don't do it, but I'm just...
Oh, did
You said he was going to extend the wall. I guess I'm confused. Isn't
Yeah,
that like the very
so
end of it
according
before it's
according to
water?
the plan, because every time I go out on site, I come back to the office and review the plans and be like, what is actually approved here? So the way the plan was previously approved, the stream crossing the culvert was supposed to be this large, what looks like on the plans, and I just could be reading them wrong, was this big metal item that had a metal wall on the either side of it.
Right.
Which is in the plans, which they didn't do. They just did the culvert itself, and then they built the rock wall. So they did the rock wall on one side. When you're looking at the culvert, they did it on the right side. They didn't do it on the left. So they're doing it on the left side. So that's what he's talking
they're not
about.
extending the existing wall. They're essentially building a new wall.
When they say they were extending it, they're essentially building what they were supposed to do anyway.
So was it just temporary what they put up there, or?
They didn't put anything on the left side.
Okay.
So what they're doing is now building what was that was on the plans. What fell on the corner was a temporary item that never got backfilled or cemented in, and that's how it fell. And now they're going to go through and make it permanent.
Yeah, 'cause that was a little disconcerting. to see
It was,
down.
and I mean, and when I saw them put it there, I go, well, that's weird. They just placed rock there. Okay, I guess that works. And then when it fell, like, oh, that's right. They never actually reinforced this. They just placed it there. So the fact that it lasted a good 2 months is astonishing.
Yeah, it was supposed to look something like this, right? So
Yes. Yep.
there's the arch.
Yep, and then
And
there's
there's
two
supposed to be
walls.
metal attachments.
Yeah, and there's not. They're building brick walls.
Yeah, but I
concrete block.
I guess I thought these were attached to this
That's how the
to
plans.
give it support, and then yes, you'd put brick or whatever in front of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, morons.
Mike Phillips, nice reference to morons.
So there is that. We're continuing to work internally along with the town planner, the DPW, to make sure that this site goes on. We've had several letters back and forth between planning board or DPW and fire department to get this site, and I'm constantly talking with Charlie, the building commissioner, to make sure we're all involved and everyone knows what's going on site. I continue to be the one that goes out every Wednesday, but if I see any concerns, I send an email out to John, to the chair of the planning board, along with the town planner as well. So everybody seems to know so try to keep everyone involved, and hopefully we can get this moving and going and done and everything. So it's a challenge, and we're getting that done. Okay. We had a minor change come in from National Grid on their project on the substation. If I could find where I put that, I have no idea. Anyway, so what it is, and I know I read through you guys had a change on it prior to this. Here it is, and it was.
You got the DEP number?
I do. So I just have to talk for the letter. So it's DEP number 1000476. You did do a minor change on this prior to this in March of 22, but because there was no agent at the time, you guys voted on it. So technically I'm allowed to do this, but since we were meeting today, I'll just mention it to you, see what you guys say. What it is it's two existing poles inside what looks to be around the 50-foot area, 50 to 100-foot area from the wetland too, that need to be replaced with what's existing there. They're just going to replace it with two wooden poles.
Yeah, we approved that.
Yeah, we talked about that, I thought already, didn't we?
This is another one.
It's another two.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh.
This was up around the back side of the station, if I remember. Yeah.
There's
Back side of the existing station.
there was two replacements already done. These are two new ones, so it's just another ones. I think they're just fine as they're going in and doing work. So I have no issue with it because it's literally just taking two out and putting two back in with a little bit of sub base that needs to get done, but it's not anything. But since we were meeting today, I wanted to give you guys all a heads up on that, make sure you're fine with me approving these things if they come through and just mentioning it to you at a meeting.
Yeah, anybody have an issue with that?
I did ask for clarification on it because I read through their letter and I'm like, sounds like it's just two existing poles that are getting replaced with existing, but I need to double check because I could be reading it wrong, and that's exactly what it is. So there is that. John called me yesterday to ask about a shed that's being put on at an address. I drove by the site, and it is indeed within the resource area of Flanagan's Pond. And it's a shed. It's just at the platform on there now. Building commissioner, there's no permit that's required for those. He didn't talk to anybody on it. So my suggestion is, and I want to get the board's thought on this, when these things come through, obviously they're not digging anything. So it's just a platform. So it could be administrative approval on this point, but because it's a minor runoff. But if they are when I worked in their town, they wouldn't allow people to store hazardous materials in a shed if it was going to be within the resource area, if it's going to be close to the buffer zone. Well, obviously people on these properties near lakes, they have small properties, that's what they want to use it for. Mm-hmm. So my suggestion is to allow them to do this, but with the caveat that they have to put some sort of gravel underneath to catch whatever oil, whatever that would fall out. If indeed something would leak, because sometimes they do.
You said the platform is already there?
Yes.
So they would just have
they'd have to just shovel underneath it.
No, but I mean they have just like a wood thing
Yeah,
set on
and
the
then
grass.
even when you drive by, and this was this morning, you could see the walls were just laying there. They just had to stand them up to build this shit.
So they have to pick up whatever they had, put gravel down.
Yeah, it was just they just put gravel underneath it.
It looks like it's elevated, it's on blocks.
It is elevated. It is off the
above.
ground. It's not flat on the ground. So just my suggestion would be, because usually people will do is they put them on cinder blocks and build them, that way they don't have to put the foundation down. My suggestion, they're going to do these that close to the pond, is that they just put something underneath it just in case there is an oil leak or whatever, and that comes through that and through the floor. It's good if it does happen. It's going to be a rarity and be a small amount, but at least it keeps it from going into the ground.
Does it?
I don't know.
I guess I'm just wondering. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna permeate right through, right? So I don't
Yeah.
know what the.
I'm just looking for suggestions on that, figuring out, we gotta figure out a way to have somehow approve. I mean, I found trees to be pretty easy, and like, oh, well, we gotta do something to do with sheds, because there's no building permit required, so it's not gonna come to me for approval.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to figure out some sort of
Well, it looked
solution
me,
to this.
without getting close to it, without getting on the property. It looked
Yeah.
to me like there was something that was underneath it already,
Mhm.
like sand. So I'm not sure
Yeah.
what it was. If it's sand, it's gonna do the same thing as gravel.
Those, yeah,
I would think.
the water would perk faster.
I don't know. I'm not
I
sure.
figure
you can-
gravel's easier to shovel out if it's dirty and replace it than sand.
They're not gonna do that.
Well, you ask them to do that, and then whether they do or not is another thing, but.
Yeah.
Most people do lots of things, whether they do them or not is another item.
Yep.
We do the best we can.
I know.
So I just didn't know what we wanted to do as far as when these items do come up, because it's gonna happen more often, what we need to do to allow people to still put these items on their property, but how we can still protect the wetland on the other side without being inundated with people coming in that just wants to put a shed on their property. It's just something to think about.
Yeah.
You don't have to make a decision tonight. I'm gonna write these lovely people a letter and let them know that they need to, submit at least administrative approval on it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They came to us before for tree removal, so they obviously know.
They know, yeah. And sometimes it's just that they just know, oh, I don't need to build it, and it goes out of their head. They forget. It's not
Well,
yelling at anybody.
it's probably more if they put it on top, there's no disturbance.
There's
so
no
they don't feel
disturbance. There's
anything
no
to worry
problem.
about,
And what happens?
which-
It ends up being it's a runoff thing, and what you're storing in there, and we just want to keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
But we just in the future, I'll put it on the agenda for another item, and we'll think about what we need to do, what we're going to do when it comes to those, because we have to figure out something. And I can try to reach out to other towns and see what they do. I just know in Littleton, when I worked there, they basically limited to you can't put lawnmowers and chainsaws and stuff in there. And
And they just said, that's exactly
that's
what
exactly what
they
they're putting it. That's exactly what they're putting it in for. So it's okay. So we gotta look at that.
It probably make more sense to treat the floor of the shed to make it resistant to stuff going through to prevent it completely.
Yeah.
And have it trying to
We'll
fix
have to-
what drips on the ground.
I'll have to figure something. Maybe I can ask the
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
fire department what they have any suggestions.
Like a layer of
Suggestions for
plastic
that.
before you put the floor down, let's say.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
then it traps moisture and then it just rots out that much quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
so
it's
then
already down. the
in my
floor's
brain, I
down.
already said, put plastic down on the outside and put a wattle around it. That way, if anything gets there, the water gets it, the oil will race to the top. As it tries to get off, it goes through the wattle and gets caught in the wattle. You know?
Wow.
Yeah. So.
But now, like you said, now it's like, hey, they're just trying to put up a freaking shed or ask them to do this, you know?
Yeah. We'll brainstorm on this one a little bit.
Don't forget the circuit rider.
Yes, yeah, I'll ask Maya too. That's a good idea. We last Thursday, I don't know if any of you caught it. There was the Pocket Forest tour of our 7 sites. I don't know. It was a lot of them. I only went to 3. So we had that on Thursday. They're working on finalizing what sites will be. The overall, we got to get approval from MVP on the grant to change it. The pilot park will actually be on East Main Street, at the bottom of the hill here, of the railroad bridge.
Oh.
So there's that. So we're working diligently on getting those projects up and running and finalizing the sites we're going to work with on that. And 2 unrelated conservation items that came out of the meetings. The Cable Advisory Committee has a public hearing on the 18th of January at the high school at 6. I just wanted to mention it to you all and anyone that might watch this, that it's important that we go, our members of the community go, to talk about the cable and the importance of having that with having meetings streamed and shown on TV and live and items. Robert's asking either that people go to try to get discussion going with Comcast and the use of the cable in the town and how we use it, and or submit letters of approval or what we like about it. So I want to throw that out to you.
What was
to
the
do
date
that.
and location again?
It
please?
is on January 18th at 6 o'clock at the high school. I've been told there will be food. So
This is to get free
So the
access
contract is-
onto the.
the contract is up with Comcast, so the town has to re-sign that contract, and so they do public hearing and negotiation. So that's what this is. So it's inviting the public to come, state their grievances with the cable, not internet. This is just cable. What you like about it, why the town needs it, the importance of APAC streaming these meetings, and items like that. And typically people don't go, so Robert's just trying to get letters or people to be there to discuss this.
I can't go at least for the beginning because zoning board meets
Oh yeah, I know.
at 6. But it might be a short meeting, so.
Yeah, and this might be only be a short meeting too. So
Yeah.
if someone wants to go have a dinner and a show at the high school on the 18th, please do so.
Dinner and a show.
Dinner and a show, exactly. And then one other quick thing, it was brought up as a meeting, and you might have seen items, and it'll be more broadcast. The Ayer part of Devon's is actually going to be up to be voted on to go back to the town. I think it's a 2030. So Alan Minoy, the community development director, will be holding there's 2-day Semporium meetings to discuss this sometime in February. And I wanted to mention to the commission to keep an eye out for that, because part of that Devon's land is McPherson Road, which is basically the entire National River that we have in town. So it's a matter of, do we want that back? Do we want the state, Devon's to keep it? So I wanted to have you just bring it up to you guys to keep an eye out for when those meetings happen. I will bring it up again in another meeting.
A sign.
Oh, I was looking at it like if it was me and I mentioned it to a person, I'm like, I'd close that road completely to all vehicle traffic.
Wow, you're mean.
Well,
And just
except
make it a
that-
back path.
So for that area, part of it's owned by Oxbow though?
It is. So, and they would be in favor of it having no vehicles running through it.
Yeah, but no, would that still be the obstacle for us putting up a sign?
Maybe.
Yeah. But anyway, just wanted to bring you those two items to you guys' attention to keep an eye out and try to do my part to help Robert get people to the cable advisory public meeting on that.
Let's invite Verizon. Like maybe actually get some competition.
Oh yeah, he
here.
doesn't want to hear that. He doesn't want to hear that talk. He's been asked that. We can't do that.
Why?
This is just to talk about cable
Why?
TV.
But like Verizon has cable TV, don't
They do. And, hey, I have Spectrum and Pebble. I'll gladly trade Comcast with you anytime.
they? I don't use that.
But Verizon would have Fios, they don't have the cable.
They will.
But
My mom
Verizon
worked. My
doesn't
mom
have
worked for
Fios
Verizon.
anymore. They're not expanding Fios anymore.
No, they're not.
moving on
So-
to 5G or.
No, they're not
Yeah,
expanding Fios.
so they don't
anymore.
have cable per se without Fios, do they?
Yeah, it's different.
Okay.
But anyway, I just did my part on that. So that is everything I have. That's everything I wrote down.
Okay, member updates?
Signs.
Sign.
Oh, did you say sign?
Yes, signs.
Signs.
Is it a true conservation meeting if we don't talk about the signs?
Talk about the signs. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I sent that email about the final report.
Yeah, so you did send me something. We were gonna chat about that a little bit.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, I'm not sure what else we have to do.
I
mean,
have
she explained
no
a little bit, so
idea.
I was like, but yeah, we'll have to look through that if you can.
Did we get the new,
No, we got a quote.
Quote.
So
yeah,
to
okay.
update the
$20.
yeah, to update and change the I to an A
Oh.
on the file, whatever
Yeah.
would be used. $20. So I'm assuming that we're probably okay with that.
yeah,
$20.
Given approval. I still haven't gotten a quote from Lidl with regards to how much 2 more signs would cost. I'm not anticipating it to be huge bucks, but don't have an official number yet.
And according to their invoice from June, it was $24 a sign.
Yeah, so assuming it's similar to that, I think we can fix
The
everything
line of
for
high
under
density
$100 pretty
signs.
easily. We could reuse the same old hardware if need be. Actually, I think you might have some
I
extra
do have
hardware.
some in my office.
Yeah, so,
I'll tell you what, I'll pay $10 for one of the old signs. Just kick it in towards the new ones. What do you think? I want that on my house.
it's not going anywhere, so yeah, you can definitely have it.
I have an extra one in my office.
Yes.
Hey, does anybody try the QR codes out in the wild?
Oh, I have not.
Somebody said they worked. Who did I talk to that said they worked?
I told you, someone told me that they tried it and it worked.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Cindy, I think scanned the one in my
Go down to
office
the
and it
office
worked.
And try it.
Yeah.
You know, and I tried it, the one over by the community garden, and maybe it's my phone that didn't work.
Hmm.
Where it sort of flashed, so I'm thinking it might be my phone.
Probably user
I had
error.
one of my old phones too.
It probably was, because you know,
QR
I'm
codes.
70 now.
But yeah, as far as, so we haven't finished, yeah, I have no idea about the year-end report. I have no idea how to write that.
Yeah, so basically they want to have, well, actually it says
To close the
we need
grant.
the closeout for the grant, but also to send us the additional cash.
Yeah.
I don't think she's aware that we're not going to end up using it.
Yeah, so I don't know what
So-
to do with that.
Although, unless maybe we could fund the Greenway Committee.
Well, that's what I was wondering, if you could use it for signage in there.
No, because I think this is to enhance the Nashua.
If this was a National River Watershed grant,
Squacook
they
and
they
dissertation.
only allow money, and because I just got the one for this year, for certain projects. It has to be a
Yeah.
stewardship project.
Yeah.
And,
Doesn't
yeah,
the
we don't
water
have
from-
any.
The
What?
water from that area, doesn't it trickle down eventually into the Nashua River?
It does. That's why we put a sign up there.
That's right.
Yeah, well, we'd have to, but they'd have to approve a big
You
change.
have to prove
to
the
the
change, yeah, you have to submit a change request.
So yeah, so we've got to figure out
How to write
put
this.
together a final report, I
Yeah,
suppose.
final report.
And basically, it's to get
Yeah.
all the bills and whatever
Yeah,
we
and
paid,
I pulled
so-
the file, and I believe I have all the bills in here.
Okay.
And it's a matter of, just, I need copies of those and how the money was spent and what the project is and how it benefits the community, I guess.
We just take what we asked, like
So
what we
I-
said the scope was going to be. We just kind of say, and this is what it is doing.
Okay,
Just turn it into, we plan to do this to now it's past tense.
okay. Yeah, I've never, again.
We
These are
just
all
did one on the
I-
stored
historical
items to
commission.
me.
What's that?
We just did one on the historical commission for our resources inventory. I can send you that one.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Oh, good reference. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a great reference, and I'm sure I could run upstairs and ask Alicia or Alan too. I'm sure they have quite a bit. And I did forget one thing, and I apologize. I don't know why I missed my list here. Diligently, I have been working on revising and looking at changing our regulations. So here is a list of changes that I have proposed on here. And then a list of items that are there's some towns on there that have language on it that I just haven't drafted. So there's a line to add an advice from town staff into our regulations, a regulation to add for site inspections stating if we can't see the site due to snow, the permit application is deemed incomplete. A section to add for surety in bonds and covenants. And then, secrets of construction, advice from the commission, and that is after the fact, when construction has started. And then to look at some of the examples I have attached to add a regulation on vegetation removal and replacement, for plan requirements, and a item for climate change resilience. It's just something for you guys to look at. Homework, so we can hopefully get a public hearing at sometime in February to add some of these regulations in.
Okay,
Okay?
yeah, very good, thank you. What was that?
Is it,
And if you need any more examples of any other towns you'd like to look at, I have like 5 more in a file on my desk. These are just ones from Lunenburg, Arlington. I do have Dedham, if any of you want to have a look at any other ones, the town of Dedham, their regulations are quite extensive as far as their plan requirements and other items. It's just, it was too much for me to try to make copies of it for all of you. I think their regulations are 37 or 60 pages. They're long. I couldn't staple them.
Yeah.
They're
Wow.
big ones. So that's another town if you want to look at as far as for plan requirements and other items that they have. They have graphs and pictures and stuff.
Where's Dedham again?
Dedham is south.
South of Boston.
Yeah,
Is it on 120, inside 128 or
I think
inside
so.
495?
They're one of the ones that I looked at for our tree policy.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, thank you. All right, now I'm done.
Anything else, members? Yes, Ms. Gugino.
So the zoning board last night voted to approve the comprehensive permit for Air Commons on Fitchburg Road. So that's now been filed with the town clerk's office. And I made sure on a few of the items, I talked extensively with our agent beforehand. So I don't know if I got everything in.
No, I reviewed the
Yeah.
draft yesterday because Alicia was all worried
Yeah.
about it, and I told her, I go, I have nothing. Everything
There's
it
just-
looks good to me.
Just had to reword, they had a thing about, did you see the thing on snow
Yep.
removal? Yeah, and they had it worded so that it was notifying the snowplow contractor. And I said, no, so we reworded it, so it's notifying, providing notification that the snowplow contractor was given the precise locations, and that has to go to the building commissioner. So, and a few other areas like the pre-construction meeting, made sure it included the conservation agent and some other areas, so.
Nice.
The other thing I had tried to do, brought up, was issue of putting permanent protection onto the open space in that area, perhaps with needing the easement for the sewer crossing. We'll eventually see this project down the road when it comes for a notice of intent. And the lawyer working for the town on this said, we can't impose that condition. They would have to come to us about doing a conservation restriction or something like that. So I've raised it a few times, so it's sort of on their radar. It's a nonprofit project, so they're really trying to keep costs down. So I was wondering at the advisability of maybe talking to Ann Gagnon at Fish and Wildlife, because they abut the back of this area, and just seeing if she was interested in contacting them, because I think they have a more streamlined, cheaper process.
Yeah, there's that. And I don't know. I know back in the days before we did conservation before, the NRCS, and they might still do it. They allow you to sell your building rights to your property in order to permanent protection. If it's something that they're not going to build on anyway, that would even give them money to help with the project if they still do that.
Let me know about if you can find something on that. And send it to me.
Yeah, I will look. I know they used to do that.
Yeah.
They might still. I don't know exactly how it has to go, but I don't know if that's a revenue they can go
Most
across.
of it, the buffer zone is all that they can't develop other than the small area they're going to have for parking in the back building, and then the sewer line running across the stream, which we'll have to review. But then there is a further up towards Isaac Lane, that area in the northwest corner, there's a bit of land that they're not developing, but it's out of the buffer zone. And NOAA, the nonprofit, had said they didn't have any intention to develop that. But the way it was said sort of like was they didn't have any intention. But so I was thinking, it would be great if we could get permanent protection for the buffer zone area and also that little corner. But maybe I was thinking, okay, so what you're saying, they could get paid.
Yeah,
Like,
and I can't remember what the restriction is because I never looked into it for farmland. I don't know if it has to be a farmland, if it can just be any piece of property. I'd have to look into that. But they used to, and you could do it. Yeah, for certain. It might just be for farmland, but I'll look into it.
But I also thought I'd mention it to Ann Gagnon to see if they were interested in pursuing it maybe they could talk to Noah and provide a really cost-free avenue to do that, and with an easement, and so that then they would want to do it. Just to see, we can't make them do it. So,
Okay.
and that was it.
Anything else? Our next meeting is January 26th, 2023. That seems awful soon compared to our last.
Hiatus?
Yeah. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay? Passes unanimously.